You ever feel like no matter how much you're working, you're still stuck in the same exact place? Like your bank never really changes? You feel like blessings never come? Well, the reality is, abundance is not only guaranteed for you since birth, it's what happens naturally when you align yourself with the will of the Creator. Allah says right here, وَفِي السَّمَاءِ رِزْقُكُمْ وَمَا تُوعَدُونَ, and in the heaven is your provision and whatever that you are promised, which means that it's already written, it's already stored. But when your heart is living in fear, stress, and worry, then you're not tuned into the heavenly promise. You're not tuned into that heavenly frequency. Instead, you're tuned into the dunya frequency, into the scarcity frequency. And this naturally puts you in scarcity. But then when you learn Islamic spirituality, you learn that abundance is never delayed. Your yaqeen, your certainty is. That's why Shaykh Ahmad Zaruq, he says, if you want provision, increase tawakkul. If you want abundance, clean your heart. Why? Because Allah is not stingy. Allah is al-Kareem, the most generous. He gives more than you ask, but He doesn't give you when you're doubting Him. Not to punish you, not to harm you, but to guide you straight back to Him first. So when you fix what's inside, trust me bro, the outer is going to start showing. And this is what this whole video I'll be showing you, inshallah. I'm not going to be teaching you manifestation. I'm not going to be teaching you how to get rich quick. I'm just going to help you realign with what Allah has already written for you, so that inshallah you'll start experiencing more abundance into your life, because Allah has already promised your abundance. You're the one that's not aligned with it yet. So we'll be fixing that, inshallah. So understand, Habibi, that 90% of humans, they all live in scarcity. Why do 90% of people, Muslim or non-Muslim, why do they live in scarcity? Well, because they're veiled from the true reality. People live their whole life placing all of their attention on the physical world, on matter, or as we call it, dunya. And dunya, by definition, is the lowest world, dunya. So now if you're placing your attention at the lowest world, which is only 1% of reality, well, you're going to be seeing lack. Of course you'll be seeing lack. But that's not because there's no abundance. That's because you're looking at life from a keyhole point of view. You're looking at the pixel. You haven't even seen the full picture. So you're seeing no abundance because your heart is not open to it yet. You're not open to the divine flow that's constantly flowing around you. Allah says right here, and there is no creature on earth but that upon Allah is its provision. Which means, if you're experiencing scarcity right this moment as you're watching this video, it means that you're having an inward experience of being distracted from the name of Allah, which is Al-Kareem. You don't know who Al-Kareem is yet. So understand, literally write this down, bro. Scarcity is not a lack of abundance, it's a lack of yaqeen. It's a lack of certainty. It's not being able to see the abundance that Allah has already placed. And that's why Imam al-Qushayri, he says in his Risala, he describes the state of not seeing Allah's abundance as nafs al-ammara, the commanding self, which is the lower self. Why is that? Because this is the ego that always feels like it's in need, always feels that it needs to take control. It's never content, it's never happy, and it's never at rest. And he says the disease in reality is greed. You don't know it, you think, oh, I'm not greedy, but in reality, that's the disease. But the cure is faqr. Now you might think faqr in Arabic, obviously faqr, it means poverty. But when he's saying that the cure is faqr, most people thought that this means having no money, having poverty, being okay with being poor. But that's not what it means. It's not material faqr, not material poverty. This is the type of faqr that's in the heart, where you have nothing else in your heart except one thing, one being. And that one being in your heart is Allah. Being so spiritually poor that there is nothing else in your heart except Allah. There's people in the world, by the way, they're so poor, all they have is money. All they have is money. And those people, they struggle internally. But that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he says, faqr is my pride. But sadly, most Muslims, they thought he's talking about being poor is something good. No, most of the Sahaba, they were all rich. I was actually looking up the net worth of some Sahaba, and I was like, bro, these people were so rich. But the Prophet ﷺ, what he's alluding to, what he is saying here, is having nothing in the heart, nothing except Allah. Which means you don't have material things in your heart. You're not attached to things in the dunya in your heart. The only being that you're attached to in your heart is Allah. But Allah says in the Quran, because I want you to truly understand what this means. Allah says in the Quran, الشيطان يعدكم الفقر ويأمركم بالفحشاء والله يعدكم مغفرة منه وفضلا. Which means shaitan, it threatens you, promises you poverty. But in this case, the type of poverty is material poverty. Being so scared that you have nothing else in the physical world. So this ayah shows you that being in the state where you think you have nothing, which is material poorness, it's a trick from the shaitan. This is not real. Because what he's trying to do is that he's trying to make you doubt Ar-Razzaq, make you doubt Allah, the creator, that's giving provision to every single creature on earth. And that's what Allah says in this ayah right here, and to Allah belongs the depositories of the heavens and the earth. But most people, the hypocrites, they don't understand this. So there's a beautiful actually quote by Shaykh al-Iskandari. He says, the one who sees other than Allah is already in need. That's what shaitan wants you to do, to see other than Allah, to have poorness, material poorness, so that you start doubting who Allah is. So don't be confusing having nothing in your heart except Allah with having nothing in the physical world. Because by the way, understand that when you have nothing in your heart except Allah, as a result you will be gaining everything in the physical world. But the moment that the physical starts having an attachment in your heart, that's where you start losing the physical world. So it's narrated that Al-Hafi, he once saw a man crying from hunger in the market. And so he saw the man crying in the market. He just started smiling. He's like, how strange. You fear for your provision while you breathe the air of the one who provides it. Has not he given you each breath for free? Then what makes you think he will now abandon you? And that's the shift that you're going to start having, inshallah. So understand that scarcity is a spiritual disease, cured not by money, but by seeing Allah, by removing everything else from your heart and keeping only Allah. So you're never poor, you're only veiled. Understand that. You're only veiled. Real abundance begins when you strip your heart from the dunya and you fill it with the Creator and His promises. Again, you remove everything from your heart, you keep only Allah, you'll start not only experiencing more abundance, but you'll start experiencing the promises of Allah. And the promises of Allah is that you'll be gaining infinity. Abundance is not something you acquire, it's something you uncover. Once again, you don't gain abundance, you uncover it. So how do you uncover it? By aligning yourself with Al-Ghani. One of Allah's names is Al-Ghani, which is the self-sufficient. Why is that? Because understand, Habibi, this right here is your fitrah, which means that this is your God-given nature. You're supposed to be abundant by nature. And the proof is that Allah says that like you were created in proximity to Allah. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ وَنَعْلَمُ مَا تُوَسْوِسُ بِهِ نَفْسُهُ وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. We've created the human and we know exactly what whispers come to him, and we're closer to him than his jugular vein. Allah is so close to you. So you and Allah, stop thinking that you're far from Allah. You're very close. But it's just that you've been having this veil around you that now you can't see the abundance around you. So you're not created in scarcity. You're created next to the self-sufficient, Al-Ghani, the most generous, Al-Kareem, which means this closeness is your inheritance. This closeness is your fitrah, bro. No one can take this away from you. The only thing that can take this away from you is your own heedlessness. It's your own ghafla. It's your own heedlessness. So the idea is that you are not distant, you're only veiled. And to align with Allah, you must empty yourself of all these false gods. Once again, having nothing in your heart except Allah. So remove all these false gods in your heart. And what are these false gods? The ego, this need to control, fear. Return straight to Tawheed, straight to the oneness of Allah, and return straight to surrender to Islam itself. And when you surrender to the one who has control of the heavens and the earth, the one who's controlling everything, you stop becoming poor by nature. You become connected to an infinite provision, infinite abundance. And that's why Allah says, whoever is conscious of Allah, whoever is just conscious of Allah, He will make a way out for him and provide for him from where he does not expect. And there's a beautiful story that Sheikh Abu Madian al-Ghawth, he once passed a man begging and asked him why he begged. And the man replied, I am in need. And the Sheikh replied, he's like, you are not in need. you are in forgetfulness. For if you saw the one who provides for the birds, the ants, and the stars, you would know he has already written your share. And then he quoted, there is not a single creature on earth except that its provision is upon Allah. If your provision is upon Allah, bro, that means you got nothing else to worry about anymore. So it's up to you though to finally start seeing the world as it is. And the world as it is that it's abundance. Remove this veil that you have, that you've been accumulating by constantly listening to the shaitan, and then once you remove this, not only will you experience more abundance in your life, but you'll see more abundance in your life. So understand, abundance is not something distant that you must earn. It's something that happens when the soul aligns with its source. So abundance naturally will start happening to you when you align your soul back to its source. So when you empty yourself of the illusion of lack, and when you trust the unseen more than what's in your bank account, that is when you finally start stepping into abundance. So here I have a few steps for you, so that inshallah, this will become a habit for you, and then as a result, you'll start seeing more of abundance in your life. So step number 1 is to again realize who the source is. Allah says, indeed it is Allah who is the continual provider, the firm possessor of strength. So understand that everything you seek is from Him. Not from your job, not from the people, not from hustling even. And understand that aligning starts with Tawheed, by recognizing Allah as Ar-Razzaq, because that's what Allah introduces Himself to you as, Ar-Razzaq, and also Al-Ghani and Al-Karim. So every single day, as soon as you wake up, start saying to yourself, Hasbi Allah, wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is enough for me, there is no God but Him. And sit down for a bit, and just start to really meditate on what Ar-Razzaq means. Meditate on what Al-Ghani means. Meditate on what Al-Karim means. Like sit down and just start to think, like, what does truly Al-Karim mean? What does truly Al-Ghani or Ar-Razzaq truly mean? This is step number 1. This is how you align yourself with Allah, by realizing who the source truly is. The second step is you purify your inner state. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that, I'm pretty sure you've heard this hadith multiple times. In the body there is a piece of flesh. If it's good, the whole body is good. If it's bad, the whole body is bad. And that piece is the heart. Which means you have to be cleaning your heart from now on. So scarcity is not outside, it's inside. So it begins as fear, doubt, envy, ingratitude, all these false gods. All veils over the heart. When you remove these, you'll start seeing more abundance. So remove these, and what's already yours will reach you. So how do you remove these? We'll start doing more istighfar. That's why Allah says, like, the more istighfar you do, the more that He's going to be increasing you in money even. So do more istighfar, and when you do istighfar, do it with presence, do it with awareness. Doesn't matter how many istighfar you say, how many astaghfirullah you say, the whole point is that you say it. And also do a shukr journal, do a gratitude journal. Like this for me right now, I consider this as a form of worship. Why? Because Allah Himself says, the more that you become grateful for Him, the more that He increases you. And that the more gratitude you do, the more that it's for your soul. Which means, like, the more you sit down and you write down things that you are grateful for, and you're truly feeling gratitude in your heart, I consider that a form of worship, because you're remembering Allah, and as a result you're becoming grateful for the mercy and the favors of Allah. So it's okay to do that, bro. It's not something feminine. It's not something. Some people on Twitter, they're like, oh, that's so gay, bro. No, come on, bro. This is good. Like, you're remembering who Allah is, and you're being thankful for Allah. If you can sit down in sujood and just sit for a while in sujood and keep being grateful, if you could truly do that, that's even better. The next thing is give. Even when you feel like you have nothing, give. The more you give, the more Allah starts giving you back. Step number 3 is start trusting Allah more. Allah says that whoever relies upon Allah, He will suffice him. Abundance opens when you trust that what Allah withholds is not rejection, it's protection. So you get more when you stop doubting. So start making dua like it's already accepted. Why? Because like when you imagine, like you're making dua to who? You're making dua to Allah. So imagine now when you make dua, you make it with full trust. And then when you make it with full trust, by definition, you should know that the dua has already been accepted because you trust that Allah has accepted it. So start making dua just like that. And then say to yourself, Ya Allah, I know you heard me. Now I will walk like I received it. You can say things like that. You know that Allah has heard you. Now start walking in the world like you've already received what you've made dua for. And then also sit in sujood once again and meditate on the power of Allah while in sujood. You can sit in sujood, and then sometimes you don't even have to say anything, by the way. You can just sit down, and you understand why you say Subhana Rabbi al-A'la? Because you're understanding that Allah is so magnificent, which means the type of feeling that you should be getting in sujood is that Allah is extremely magnificent. So the more you sit in sujood and you understand that the Creator is truly magnificent, the more you get benefit from it. And once again, when you change the inner, the outer is going to start changing. And then step number 4, start living with more generosity. Whatever you spend, He will replace it. So the hand that gives is the hand that opens to receive. If you want Allah to fill your life with abundance, open your life for others, which means give daily, even if it's something super small. Even if it's a smile, bro. And then also spend on others secretly. Hidden charity is beloved to Allah. When you're doing charity without the need to be known as the one giving charity, that is more beloved to Allah. And also start acting boldly, bro. Like start knowing that you're being held by Allah as you move. You're literally swimming in the mercy of Allah as you move. Which means that there's nothing that can come and harm you. Why? Because Allah is the one that's running your world. So start truly living like you know that Allah is the one that's running your life. And then step number 5, live from the reality of having. Allah says, if you are grateful, I will surely increase you. You attract what you embody. This is the idea that I've been trying to hammer down to your mind all these videos. You attract what you embody. The universe that Allah created moves by vibrational certainty. So you don't receive when you get it, you receive when you become the one who already has it inside. So start affirming, I have more than enough because my Rabb is Al-Ghani. Sit still at times. At times, like what I do is that I would just sit down and you can just remember that Allah is always here. Remember that Allah is truly very sufficient for you. That you don't really need anything else in the world except Allah. And this comes when you reach a state of stillness. When you reach a state of stillness, you'll understand that Allah is the only one that's going to remain. The only being that's going to remain. And that when you move with the will of Allah, you'll start moving with almost like invincibility, which is beautiful. And then walk through your day as if abundance is chasing you, because in reality, it truly is. It truly is. Once again, if we're saying that abundance is here, but scarcity is only a veil, that implies that if it's a veil, that abundance has always been here. Why? Because Allah is the creator. Allah is the one that's running the world. That's the thing, bro. Like, understand, Allah is the one that's running the world. So if Allah is the one that's running the world, by default, the natural state should be just abundance. And then when you start living like that, this will become something natural. And I'm going to end this video off by saying this beautiful quote. The one who knows Allah sees only abundance, even in apparent lack. Even when at times if someone were to look at your life from the outside, they would be like, yeah, this guy has nothing. But if you truly know Allah, you look at everything in abundance. And when you're looking at everything in abundance, understand that you're seeing the truth. You're seeing the truth. Because the physical world is only 1% of the real world. The real world is not just the physical that we're seeing, it's way more than that. And when you start seeing it as it is, you'll start experiencing more. And experiencing what exactly? More abundance, inshallah. So I'm hoping that this video was very, very helpful. Once again, bro, you were promised abundance. This is your birthright. But the only step that you have to start doing is to align yourself with Allah. And then when you align yourself, you'll experience more abundance, inshallah. So if this video was helpful, Habibi, just let me know.